Phase of the mission after successful Mars orbit insertion is to change the orbit of the spacecraft. And that's going to be done through a process known as aerobraking. Can you describe aerobraking in a nutshell?
Yeah, in a nutshell, aerobraking is just dipping the spacecraft solar panels into the atmosphere and allowing that drag to change our orbital parameters. And we'll do that in order to get into the orbit we'd like to get into, and that allows us to not have to take as much fuel with us, so we can be launched on a smaller launch vehicle. And we can get into the final science orbit and relay support orbit for Mars 98.
We should have begun the MOI burn.
All stations on Mars core, this is the FOM. Real-time Doppler indicates main engine start.
That's good news.
Yeah, so it was a chorus of yeses in the control room just now.
That's right. It's one of the most difficult times when you don't have the data. You're just looking at we have the Doppler, but no real-time engineering to give us any indication of anything else.
All stations on Mars core, MCU systems. This time all stations continuing to report nominal and carrier-only mode. Next major event would be loss of signal for occultation, and that would be scheduled to occur at 09:05:41 Earth receipt time. That's 9:05:41.
There was this one.
Okay, again, that occultation that she mentioned coming up in about 3 minutes and 40 seconds. And again, this view of the mission support area at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. In the upper left, Phil Kanoki, who is a mission engineer. On the far left with his back to the camera is Dr. Sam Thurman, who's the flight operations manager. In the center of the screen is John McNamee, who is the project manager during the development phase of the mission. And on the far right in the light-colored shirt is Richard Cook, who's the Mars Surveyor operations project manager. And the fleet of spacecraft requiring operations continues to grow.
That's true, and actually Richard is the Mars Surveyor Operations Project Manager, and a lot of these folks work on that project, and currently we're operating MGS, working on going to operate Genesis, and Mars 98 we're operating, Mars 01 we will operate, Stardust. There's just a slew of missions that we're responsible for.
Systems and spacecraft engineers, the FOM.
Again, FOM is Sam Thurman.
This is spacecraft engineer.
We've done we've done a blow-up of the real-time Doppler display. It looks like we do get a nice kink over in the trace right on time.
Systems copies. Thank you for that.
Spacecraft engineer copies. Thank you.
View on NASA TV of the Lockheed Martin mission support area, now back at JPL.
All those guys were
And all stations on Mars core, MCO systems, all subsystems continuing to report nominal as we progress in our burn period, monitoring the spacecraft in carrier-only mode. The next event again would be loss of signal with occultation start at 9:05:41. That would be MOI plus 4 minutes 55 seconds.
well, no, it'll make a good. Sorry. Yeah. Well, there's not much there. The note from the
Okay, and then back on NASA TV, again, the animation. There's a little bit of a wobble that's present in the animation. Again, it's not real-time data, so we're not actually seeing this exact wobble per se. We're also changing the view and the orientation occasionally in this view. The data that fueled this animation and this simulation came from Lockheed Martin in one of the simulators. It's part hardware, part software. And the simulations indicated that the spacecraft, as it was decelerating on this burn, would in fact wobble back and forth or perturb slightly. So although it's not, what you're seeing is not a literal illustration of what's happening on board the spacecraft, the performance is like what is happening on Mars right now. So the graphics are telemetry that was captured from the spacecraft test lab at Lockheed Martin.
And even though we're not getting data from the spacecraft right now, we will be able to get that data
Mars
later that will
Engineer,
help us
MCOA, Mars
reproduce that same visualization from
Mars
real
Engineer.
telemetry.
Okay, Station 430 reports that they dropped receiver lock at 090456, and the last signal seen in the FFT was at 09.